I can watch movies without subtitles, read articles fluently, and even chuckle at English jokes. But when it's time to speak, my mind goes blank. My tongue feels heavy. Words that I know are somewhere in my brain just won't come out. Why does this happen? Let's break it down. 1. The input-output imbalance. Understanding English comes from passive exposure, listening to music, watching TV shows, and reading books. These activities strengthen my ability to recognize words and meaning. However, speaking is an active skill. It requires forming words on the spot, organizing my thoughts quickly, and pronouncing them correctly. Since I spend more time absorbing English than actually using it, my brain has an imbalance between input, listening/reading, and output, speaking. 2. The fear factor, psychological block. I know the words. I know the grammar. But as soon as I need to speak, my brain starts doubting itself. What if I make a mistake? What if they laugh at my accent? What if I sound stupid? This is language anxiety, a common phenomenon where fear of being judged prevents me from speaking freely. Research shows that many language learners hesitate to speak because of self-consciousness and a fear of embarrassment. 3. Lack of muscle memory. Speaking is physical too. Speaking a language isn't just about knowing words, it's also about training the muscles in my mouth, tongue, and throat to produce unfamiliar sounds. Take the th sound in think. My native language might not have this sound, so my tongue isn't used to making it. Without practice, my mouth struggles to form the right shapes, making speaking feel awkward and uncomfortable. It's like playing the piano. Knowing the notes doesn't mean I can instantly play a song. My mouth needs repetition and practice to develop the muscle memory for speaking fluently. 4. The brain processing problem. When I listen or read, I have time to process English. But when I speak, I need to think fast and form sentences in real time. This requires a different part of my brain than passive understanding. Studies show that listening comprehension mainly activates the temporal lobe, which processes sounds and meaning. But speaking engages the prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and speech production. If I don't practice enough, my brain takes longer to find words, causing me to hesitate or freeze. 5. Not enough speaking practice. Many people learn English in a classroom setting where they focus on grammar, writing, and reading, but speaking is often neglected. It's like learning to swim by watching YouTube videos. No matter how much I understand the technique, I won't actually swim unless I jump into the water. The same goes for English. If I rarely speak out loud, my brain won't get used to retrieving words quickly, making me feel stuck in conversations. How can I fix this? Now that I know why I struggle to speak, how can I improve? 1. Speak every day, even if I'm alone, talking to myself, shadowing native speakers, or practicing with AI/chatbots can help build confidence. 2. Forget perfection. Fluency comes from making mistakes and learning from them. It's okay to sound imperfect. 3. Train my mouth. Repeating difficult words and phrases will help my tongue adapt to English sounds. 4. Think in English. Instead of translating from my native language, I should train my brain to form English sentences naturally. 5. Join conversations. Speaking with real people, whether online or in person, is the best way to get comfortable. After understanding the reasons behind my struggle, the next step is to fix it. Luckily, I don't need to be a genius or have a perfect accent. I just need the right approach. How to overcome your speaking struggle. 1. Train your mouth like an athlete. Speaking English isn't just a brain activity, it's also a physical one. If my mouth isn't used to making English sounds, I need to train it like a muscle. Shadowing technique. I will listen to native speakers and repeat exactly what they say, mimicking their pronunciation, speed, and rhythm. Tongue twisters. Practicing phrases like, "She sells seashells by the seashore," will help my mouth move more smoothly. Reading aloud. I'll take a book, article, or script and read it out loud every day to get comfortable forming sentences. 2. Stop translating. Think in English. One reason I hesitate while speaking is because I think in my native language and try to translate into English. This slows me down. Instead, I need to train my brain to think directly in English. Name objects in English. If I see a chair, I'll think chair instead of translating from my language. Describe my day in English. In my head, I'll practice sentences like I am going to the store to buy milk. Use simple sentences first. I don't need complex grammar right away. Short and clear sentences are enough to start. 3. Get rid of fear. Confidence-boosting tricks. Fear of making mistakes is my biggest enemy. But if I don't speak because of fear, I will never improve. Here's how I can break free. Accept mistakes as progress. Every mistake is a step toward fluency. Start with small conversations, ordering food, greeting people, or asking for directions in English builds confidence. Record myself speaking. Listening to my own voice helps me track progress and fix pronunciation. 4. Talk to real people, even online. The fastest way to improve is to actually talk to people. Find a language partner. Websites like Tandem, HelloTalk, or language exchange groups help me practice with native speakers. Join online communities, Discord servers, Reddit, or even gaming voice chats expose me to real conversation. Use AI/chatbots, talking to AI assistants, like me. Or practicing with voice-based apps can help me get comfortable. 5. Speak every single day, even if it's just to myself. If I want to speak fluently, I must speak daily. No exceptions. Morning routine, I'll describe what I see out loud. Evening routine, I'll talk about my day in English. Mirror practice, I'll have small English conversations with myself to simulate real speech. Final thoughts. The key to speaking English fluently, understanding English but struggling to speak it, is not a permanent problem, it's just a temporary phase. My brain already knows English, but I need to activate my speaking ability through practice. The biggest lesson? Fluency doesn't come from knowing English. It comes from using it. The more I speak, the more confident and natural I'll become, so, starting today, I will stop hesitating and start talking, even if it's just a little. Because the only way to get better is to keep speaking, every single day. I can understand English, but when it comes to speaking, everything feels different. Words that I recognize instantly when reading or listening just won't come out when I try to say them. My mind goes blank, my tongue feels stiff, and I hesitate, even though I know I have the knowledge. It's frustrating, but I've come to realize that this isn't just a personal struggle, it's a common experience with real explanations. One of the main reasons for this issue is the imbalance between input and output. I have spent years listening to English music, watching movies, and reading articles, which have helped me understand the language. However, these are passive activities, where I only receive information. Speaking, on the other hand, is an active skill that requires me to produce language in real time. Since I haven't practiced forming words and sentences out loud as much as I've listened to them, my brain struggles to retrieve the right words quickly. Another major obstacle is fear and anxiety. Even when I know what to say, I worry about making mistakes, mispronouncing words, or sounding unnatural. This fear of judgment holds me back, creating a mental block. Psychologists call this language anxiety, and it's common among learners who are afraid of being wrong. But in reality, no one speaks perfectly all the time, not even native speakers. The more I let fear control me, the less I practice, and the harder it becomes to improve. Speaking also involves a physical component. My mouth, tongue, and vocal cords need to physically adjust to English pronunciation, which may be very different from my native language. If certain sounds don't exist in my first language, my mouth isn't trained to produce them naturally. That's why repeating words and practicing pronunciation exercises are important, not just to know the words, but to train my muscles to say them smoothly. It's similar to learning an instrument. I might know how a song should sound, but I still need to practice playing the notes before I can perform fluently. Another reason I struggle is that my brain processes language differently when listening versus speaking. When I listen or read, I have time to absorb the meaning. But speaking requires my brain to recall words instantly and form sentences on the spot. This is a different cognitive process that needs practice. Studies have shown that the brain areas responsible for comprehension and speech production are connected but not identical. This means I can understand English well while still struggling with speech if I haven't trained the right parts of my brain. A big factor is that I have spent too much time thinking in my native language. When I try to speak English, my brain first formulates the sentence in my native language and then attempts to translate it. This slows me down, causing hesitation and unnatural phrasing. The best way to fix this is to think directly in English instead of translating. It takes practice, but it makes speech much smoother and more automatic. So, how can I solve this problem? The first step is to speak every single day, even if it's just to myself. I can describe what I'm doing, talk about my plans, or even repeat sentences from books or movies. The more I move my mouth in English, the more natural it will feel. Another great technique is shadowing, where I listen to native speakers and repeat what they say immediately, mimicking their pronunciation and rhythm. This helps with fluency and builds confidence. Since confidence is a big issue, I need to stop aiming for perfection. Making mistakes is part of learning, and the best way to improve is by speaking despite my fears. Instead of worrying about sounding perfect, I should focus on communicating my message. Native speakers don't expect me to be flawless, they just appreciate the effort. One of the most effective ways to improve is by having real conversations. I can find language partners online, join English-speaking communities, or even talk to AI chatbots if I don't have access to native speakers. Speaking with real people forces me to think quickly and adapt, which is exactly the kind of practice I need. If I want to speak fluently, I need to train my brain to think in English. This means naming objects around me in English, forming sentences in my head throughout the day, and avoiding direct translation. The more I immerse myself in English, the faster my brain will adapt. Overcoming my speaking struggle isn't about intelligence or talent, it's about consistent practice. I already understand English, I just need to activate my ability to speak it. The key is to keep pushing forward, speaking out loud, and not letting fear hold me back. If I keep practicing, my brain will get used to forming sentences naturally, my mouth will adjust to English sounds, and I will finally break free from the hesitation that has been stopping me. The only way to get better at speaking. Thank you for watching. I hope my tips can help you to learning English easily. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips and interesting story.